I want you to look at your hand right now. Seriously, stop what you're doing and look at your hand. Can you move your fingers? Can you clench a fist? You feel like you're in control, don't you? You feel like you decided to click on this video, you decided what to wear this morning, and you decided exactly who you are. But I have to tell you something that is going to sound terrifying, and I need you to really listen because this isn't a metaphor. It is a statistical probability. You are not the main character of your life right now. You are an NPC. You are a background character in a simulation that was programmed by people who haven't been in the room with you for 20 years. We like to think we are these rational, conscious operators, steering the ship of our lives through the ocean of time. But if we look at the raw data, the neuroscience paints a much darker picture. It paints a picture of a biological robot running on a loop. Let's look at the hardware specs. The average human brain processes about 60,000 thoughts every single day. 60,000. That is a massive amount of processing power. But here is the glitch, here is the statistic that should make your stomach drop. 95% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts you had yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. Think about what that actually means. It means you aren't living a life. You are memorizing an existence. You are waking up to the same alarm, checking the same 3 apps on the same glowing rectangle, feeling the same low-level anxiety about the future, driving the same commute, and reacting to your boss with the same suppressed irritation. You are living in a mental prison of repetition. You are trapped in a loop of your own making, but because the walls of this prison are made of your own thoughts, you don't even see them. You think you're walking forward, but you're just walking on a treadmill. This is why you feel stuck. This is why every New Year's resolution dies by February. This is why you say you're going to start that business or get in shape or fix your relationship, but 6 months later you are in the exact same position, just a little more tired and a little more cynical. You aren't lazy. You aren't broken. You are simply running a corrupted software program. You are living in a simulation generated by your past. We need to talk about where this code came from, because you weren't born thinking you weren't good enough. You weren't born afraid of rejection. You weren't born procrastinating. When you came into this world, your brain was plastic. It was fluid. It was capable of becoming anything. But during those early years, your brain was like wet cement. Anything that touched it left a permanent mark. Think back to when you were 5 or 7 or 10. Maybe it was a parent who was always stressed about money. They didn't mean to hurt you, but they repeated the same phrases over and over. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. We can't afford that. That wasn't just noise. That was coding. That was someone writing a line of script into your operating system that says resources are scarce and survival is hard. Maybe it was a teacher who humiliated you in front of the class when you got an answer wrong. You felt that flush of heat, that shame in your chest. In that moment, the wet cement hardened. Your brain wrote a protective algorithm. Do not take risks. Do not speak up. Stay quiet to stay safe. Or maybe it wasn't a tragedy. Maybe it was just observation. You watched how your father dealt with anger, or how your mother dealt with sadness, and you downloaded their emotional habits directly into your subconscious. You are running ghost code. You are operating on the fears, limitations, and beliefs of people who are maybe not even in your life anymore. And this is where the horror sets in. Because that cement has dried. That wet, malleable brain you had as a child has hardened into the concrete walls of your current reality. And now, as an adult, you are trying to build a skyscraper of success on a foundation that was poured to build a shack. You try to use conscious willpower to change. You say, I am going to be confident today. But your subconscious mind, that massive supercomputer running the ghost code, says, no, remember 2004? We don't do confidence. We do safety. And because 95% of your processing power is automatic, the subconscious wins. It always wins. It's like you're sitting in the driver's seat of a car, holding a plastic toy steering wheel, pretending to turn left, while the car's autopilot is locked in a hard right turn toward a cliff. This is the state of the average person. They are losing a war they don't even know they are fighting. They are victims of mental chatter, slaves to old patterns, and casualties of a battlefield that exists entirely between their ears. They are asleep at the wheel. I want you to visualize your day yesterday. Really replay it. The moment you woke up, what was the first thought? Was it excitement? Was it a clear vision of your mission? Or was it a groan? Was it a hit of dopamine from social media to numb the reality of morning? Then you went to the bathroom, you brushed your teeth, maybe you looked in the mirror. What did the voice in your head say? Did it say, "I love you, you're a killer, let's go crush this"? Or did it criticize your skin, your weight, your eyes? Then you started work. When the pressure hit, what was the default reaction? Stress? Overwhelm? Procrastination? You see, these aren't choices you are making in the moment. These are scripts executing automatically. If you have 10,000 thoughts a year that say, "I'm not ready," you have built a neural superhighway in your brain dedicated to insecurity. It's a physical structure in your head. Neurons that fire together wire together. You have practiced being unsure of yourself so many times that you have become a master at it. You are the Michael Jordan of self-doubt. This is what I mean when I say you are an NPC. Non-player characters in video games have a set path. They have a limited number of dialogue options. They cannot leave the village. They cannot change the story. As long as you are letting that 95% of repetitive, recycled, borrowed thinking dictate your actions, you are just an extra in the movie of life. You aren't the director. You aren't even the actor. You're the scenery. But here is the glitch. Here is the crack in the matrix that the architects of your limitation didn't want you to find. You can wake up. You can access the console commands. The brain is not fixed. That old idea that you stopped developing at 25 is a lie. Science has proven the existence of neuroplasticity. Your brain is not concrete. It is clay. It is constantly being reshaped, rewired, and remolded by every single thought you attend to. The reason it feels like concrete is only because you stopped working it. You stopped heating it up. You let it get cold and hard. But we can heat it up again. We can take a sledgehammer to that old foundation. We can rip out the corrupted wires that have been sparking and short-circuiting your potential for decades. We can rewrite the source code. This isn't about positive thinking. I need to be very clear about that. If you think we are here to hold hands and chant affirmations while ignoring the fire in the living room, you are on the wrong channel. Positive thinking is like putting a fresh coat of paint on a house that is infested with termites. It looks nice for a week, and then the structure collapses. What we are doing here is not interior decoration. It is demolition and reconstruction. By the end of this hour, we aren't just going to motivate you. Motivation is cheap. Motivation is a sugar rush. We are going to perform brain surgery on your belief system. We are going to open up the hood of your mind, find the engine parts that are rusted and broken, and we are going to replace them with the machinery of the top 1%. Because that is the only difference. Look at the billionaires, the champion athletes, the people who seem to bend reality to their will. Do you think they have a better biological brain than you? Do they have more neurons? No, they have the same hardware. They are just running a different operating system. They have installed software that scans for opportunity instead of threat. They have programmed code that interprets failure as data, not as an identity. They have hacked the system to make discipline feel automatic and success inevitable. They aren't smarter than you. They are just better programmers. And right now, you are running Windows 95 trying to play a virtual reality game. It's lagging. It's crashing. It's overheating. So here is the deal. For the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly how to find the bugs in your code. We are going to identify the specific thought loops that have been keeping you trapped in this Groundhog Day existence. We are going to look at the wet cement of your past and realize that just because it dried doesn't mean we can't break it. You have a choice right now. You can click off. You can go back to the scroll. You can let the algorithm feed you another cat video or a dance trend, and you can let that 95% of recycled thoughts run your life for another 24 hours. You can stay asleep. You can stay an NPC walking your little path, saying your little lines, waiting for something to happen to you. Or you can take the red pill. You can decide right now that you are done being a passenger. You can decide that you are going to grab the wheel, even if it's terrifying, even if you don't know where you're going yet. You can decide to wake up. We are going to interrupt the pattern. We are going to break the loop. We are going to step out of the simulation and start living in the real world. The world where your thoughts are tools, not tyrants. The world where you decide what you think, how you feel, and what you build. The glitch is that you are powerful beyond measure, but you've been programmed to forget it. It's time to remember. It's time to rewrite the code. Let's begin. Here is the full script for the diagnosis section. It is written to be spoken with a conversational, high-energy tone, strictly adhering to your formatting and content constraints. Let's get real for a second. You know that feeling when you have a massive goal, a dream life you can almost taste, and you know exactly what you need to do to get it? You have the plan, you have the motivation, and you have the coffee, but then you just don't do it. Instead of building your empire or hitting the gym, you find yourself doom scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours or reorganizing your spice rack alphabetically. And then the guilt sets in. You start thinking you're lazy, broken, or just not cut out for success. You think you lack discipline. But I need you to listen to me very carefully right now because I am about to change your entire life with one sentence. You are not lazy, and you are not broken. You are biologically efficient at failing. We need to have a serious conversation about the hardware versus the software problem. See, most of us are walking around thinking our thoughts are the absolute truth. We think that voice in our head, the one saying, "You can't do this or everyone will laugh at you," is actually us. It's not. That is not your voice. That is a virus. This document I've been analyzing breaks it down perfectly. The average human being has over 60,000 thoughts every single day. That is a staggering amount of mental traffic. But here is the scary statistic. 95% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts you had yesterday. You are living in a mental prison of repetition. You are running a script that was written years ago, and you're wondering why the ending of the movie never changes. To understand why you self-sabotage, we first have to look at the hardware. We have to look at your brain. Your brain is a biological computer, but it's running on an operating system that is millions of years old. The primary function of your brain is not to make you happy. It is not to make you rich, and it is certainly not to make you a famous influencer. The primary function of your brain is to keep you alive and to conserve calories. That is it. Your brain views change, growth, and the unknown as expensive threats. When you try to do something new, like start a business or approach a stranger, your brain screams, "Danger," because to a caveman, the unknown usually meant death. This creates what we call limbic friction. There is a war happening inside your skull between your prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO of your brain, the part that wants six-pack abs and $1 million, and your limbic system, which is the ancient, emotional part of your brain that just wants to eat donuts and hide in a cave. When you feel resistance, when you feel that heavy, sticky feeling of procrastination, that is not a character flaw. That is your limbic system pulling the emergency brake to save energy. Your brain is optimizing for safety, not success. So when you fail to take action, you aren't being lazy. You are succeeding at your biological programming. You are winning the game of survival, but you are losing the game of life. But the hardware is only half the problem. The real issue, the reason you are stuck while others with the exact same brain are flying in private jets, is the software. We need to talk about the inner critic. Most people think their inner monologue is their conscience or their intuition. It's not. It's malware. It is a virus installed by society to keep you small. Think about it. When you were born, your brain was like wet cement. You had no limiting beliefs. You didn't think you were stupid or ugly or incapable. Those ideas were installed. They came from your parents, your teachers, that one kid who bullied you in 3rd grade, and society at large. You downloaded their fears, their limitations, and their biases, and now you are running their code as if it were your own source code. This malware has a voice, and we need to stop identifying with it. In fact, one of the most powerful things you can do is give that voice a name. Call it the Karen in your head, or Negative Nancy, or Steve. I don't care what you call it, but you need to externalize it, because this voice is insidious. It masquerades as rational thinking. It sounds logical. It says things like, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't launch that podcast today because the market is saturated and we need a better microphone." That sounds like a smart business decision, doesn't it? It's not. It is fear wearing a lab coat. It is the inner critic trying to keep you in the known, safe territory by using logic as a weapon. The inner critic operates on absolute terms. Have you ever noticed that? It never says, "You might struggle with this task." It says, "You always mess things up." It says, "You will never be loved." It deals in always and never. That is the signature of the virus. Catastrophizes. It takes one small possibility of failure and spins it into a scenario where you are homeless, alone, and eating cat food under a bridge. And because you hear this voice in your own head, you assume it's true. You assume it's a valid prediction of the future. But the source material tells us something critical. Thoughts are not facts. They are mental events. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean you have to accept it. You can observe it, look at it and say, "Okay, Karen, thanks for the input, but we're doing it anyway." This brings us to the biggest lie you have ever been told about self-sabotage. The comfort zone. We hear this term all the time. You need to step out of your comfort zone. But that phrase is misleading because the place you are stuck in right now. It is not comfortable. Being broke is not comfortable. Being in a toxic relationship is not comfortable. Hating your body is not comfortable. Anxiety is not comfortable. So why does your brain fight so hard to keep you there? Because it isn't a comfort zone. It is a predictability zone. Your brain loves predictability more than it loves happiness. Your brain is a prediction machine. It wants to know exactly what is going to happen next because that feels safe. Even if your current situation is miserable, your brain prefers it because it knows the rules. It knows how to navigate the misery. It has a map for the depression. It has a schedule for the anxiety. If you try to step into success, happiness, or wealth, your brain freaks out because it doesn't have a map for that territory yet. It screams, "Turn back! We don't know the predators out here." So, you self-sabotage not because you want to fail, but because you want to return to the familiar. You create chaos or procrastination to snap yourself back to your baseline, just like a thermostat kicking on the AC when the room gets too hot. You are biologically re-regulating yourself to your default level of misery. This is where the science of neuroplasticity comes in, and this is the good news. Your brain is not fixed. It is plastic, can be molded. The rule of neuroscience is simple. Neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you think a thought, you are physically changing the structure of your brain. You are digging a groove. If you think, "I am not good enough" 10,000 times, you have built a neural superhighway for insecurity. That thought becomes automatic. It becomes your default setting. You don't even have to try to feel insecure anymore. Your brain just slides down that waterslide effortlessly because you've greased the track for years. Most people are unknowingly practicing failure every single day. If you worry constantly, you are training your brain to be a gold medalist in anxiety. You are an elite athlete of stress. You have practiced it so much that you can do it in your sleep. The brain doesn't care if the program is good for you or bad for you. It only cares about what you repeat. It is a sophisticated learning machine that optimizes for whatever you feed it. If you feed it garbage, it becomes a garbage processing supercomputer. So we have to look at your default settings. This is the invisible script running in the background of your life. For many of you, your default setting is scarcity. You view everything through the lens of there isn't enough. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough love. When you see someone else succeed, you feel a pang of jealousy because your internal software believes that their win is your loss. That is a bug in the code. For others, the default setting is anxiety or the what-if prison. You spend your entire life living in a future that hasn't happened yet, preparing for disasters that are statistically impossible. You use your incredible imagination not to visualize success, but to visualize failure in 4K resolution. And for the vast majority of people, the deepest, most corrupted line of code is unworthiness. The "I'm not enough" prison. This is the belief that you fundamentally lack something: intelligence, talent, beauty, charisma that successful people have. You think they are a different species. But here is the data point that should wake you up. Billionaires, champion athletes, and world leaders have the exact same biological hardware as you. They have a prefrontal cortex, a limbic system, and the same neurotransmitters. The difference is entirely in their software. They have rewritten their code to remove the bugs of doubt and install the programs of possibility. They have stopped listening to the malware and started programming their own minds. You have to understand that this internal software runs automatically. It runs below the level of your conscious awareness. This is why willpower fails. Willpower is a conscious resource. It's like a battery. You wake up with a full bar, but every decision you make drains it. By 8 p.m., your willpower is dead. That is when your automatic unconscious programming takes over. If your automatic programming is set to lazy or fearful, you will default to that behavior the moment your willpower runs out. That is why you can't white-knuckle your way to success. You cannot fight a virus with willpower. You have to delete the virus and install a new operating system. The source material talks about how we live in a hidden prison of these unconscious patterns. We are sleepwalking. We are having the same conversation with ourselves every single day. You wake up, you recite your problems, you validate your limitations, and you go about your day looking for evidence to prove that your limitations are real. And because of confirmation bias, you find it. You find exactly what you are looking for. If you think the world is a hostile place, you will find enemies. If you think you are incapable of learning, every mistake will look like proof of your stupidity rather than a lesson. But here is the turning point. The moment you become aware of the program, you are no longer controlled by it. You cannot change what you do not notice. The first step to rewiring your brain is to stop being the victim of your thoughts and start being the observer of them. You have to become the hacker of your own mind. You have to look at the screen of your consciousness and say, wait a minute, I didn't write this code. Who put this here? I want to do something right now to break this pattern. We need to externalize this default setting so it stops having power over you. I want you to take a second and really think. What is the number one lie your inner critic tells you? Is it I'm too old? Is it I'm not smart enough? Is it I'll just fail again, so why bother? What is the specific flavor of malware that is crashing your system? I want you to go into the comments right now and type it out. Call it out, right? My default setting has been, whether it's scarcity, anxiety, or unworthiness. By writing it down, you are dragging that virus out of the darkness and into the light. You are separating yourself from it. You are telling your brain, this is not me. This is just a program I have been running. Do not skip this. If you want to change, you have to get your hands dirty. Go to the comments, type it out, and look at how many other people are running the exact same buggy software. You are not alone in this. Once you realize that your self-sabotage is just a combination of outdated biology and corrupted software, the shame disappears. You don't need to be fixed because you aren't broken. You just need an upgrade. You need to learn how to interface with your own operating system. You need to learn how to use the delete key on the thoughts that don't serve you and the download key on the thoughts that do. Think about it like this. If you bought a brand new computer and it came loaded with a virus that opened pop-up ads every 5 seconds, you wouldn't throw the computer in the trash. You wouldn't say, I'm a terrible computer owner. You would just run an antivirus. You would clean the disk. That is what we are doing here. We are identifying the Karen virus, we are acknowledging the limbic friction, and we are preparing to overwrite the code. The brain takes roughly 66 days to form a new habit. That means for 66 days, you have to consciously, deliberately interrupt the old pattern and insert a new one. It is going to feel weird. It is going to feel fake. Your inner critic is going to scream at you. It's going to say, who do you think you are? You're a fraud. That is a good sign. That means the old software is dying. That is the sound of the virus being uninstalled. You have the power to engineer your own mental transformation. You can use the same mechanism that got you stuck, neuroplasticity, to get you free. You can build new neural superhighways that default to confidence, focus, and resilience. But it starts with this diagnosis. It starts with admitting that the voice in your head is a liar, your comfort zone is a trap, and your personality is just a set of habits you picked up along the way. We are going to move into exactly how to uninstall this malware and how to code the new high-performance software of the top 1%. But before we get to the how, you have to sit with the what. You have to accept that you are the programmer, not the program. The keyboard is in your hands. The question is, are you going to keep running the script that society wrote for you? Or are you ready to write your own? Because the moment you realize you have the controls, the game changes forever. This is where we stop talking about the theory and we actually start doing the work. So if you've been passively listening while scrolling or cleaning your room, I need you to come back to me right now because we are entering the rewire. This is the how-to section that everyone asks for, but nobody actually explains properly. We are going to break down the 4-step neurohack protocol, and I need you to look at this not as self-help advice, but as a software update for your biological hardware. The source material we have been looking at proves that your brain is a biological computer running mostly corrupted, outdated software from your childhood, and right now we are going to act as the developers writing the patch code. This protocol is designed to take you from being a victim of your random neural firing to the conscious architect of your reality, and it happens in 4 specific phases. The first phase is what we call the watcher, and this is entirely about metacognition. The source text hits us with a terrifying statistic that the average person has over 60,000 thoughts per day, and 95% of them are the exact same loops they played yesterday. Most people are living in a mental prison of repetition, literally running on autopilot like an NPC in a video game, reacting to code they didn't write. The first step to breaking this is dissociation, but not in the clinical sense, in the strategic sense. You have to realize that you are not the thought, you are the entity hearing the thought. Think about it like this. If you can hear a voice in your head saying you aren't good enough, who is the one listening? That listener is the real you. The voice is just the program. To activate the watcher, you have to change the language you use to describe your internal state. You need to stop saying things like, I am sad, or I am anxious, or I am angry. When you say, I am, you are claiming that emotion as your identity. You are merging with the program. Instead, I want you to start acting like a scientist observing a lab experiment. You need to say, I am currently experiencing a sadness program, or I am noticing a loop of anxiety trying to run right now. It sounds subtle, but it is neurologically massive. You are creating a gap between the stimulus and your response. The source material calls this stepping back to observe thoughts like a scientist. You are looking at the data, but you aren't becoming the data. This is how you stop being a slave to the 90% of thoughts that aren't even yours, the ones that are just replays of old fears and society's programming. You catch the thought, you label it, and you strip it of its power because you realize it's just a mental event, not a command you have to obey. Once you have identified the rogue program running in your mind, you have about 3 seconds before that thought spirals into an emotional hijack, which brings us to step 2, the circuit breaker. This is where we get physical. The biggest mistake people make is trying to think their way out of a negative thought loop. You cannot use the mind to fix the mind when the mind is the thing that is broken. You have to use the body to interrupt the neural firing sequence. The source describes this as extinguishing a small fire before it becomes an inferno. When you catch that loop starting, that I'm not good enough loop, or that what if I fail loop, you need to physically snap your fingers. I mean literally, physically snap your fingers hard. This snap acts as a physical anchor. It is a circuit breaker for your nervous system. If you are in public and you can't snap, you change your physical state immediately. If you are sitting, you stand up. If you are shallow breathing, you take a massive exhale. You have to understand that neurons that fire together wire together, so every second you sit there dwelling on that negative thought, you are reinforcing that neural pathway, making it a superhighway for misery. The circuit breaker stops the momentum. It is like pulling the plug on a computer that is glitching out. You are interrupting the pattern before it can recruit your limbic system and dump stress chemicals into your blood. You are manually overriding the automatic system. The text tells us that the brain is a sophisticated learning machine that optimizes for whatever is practiced most consistently. So if you let the loop run, you are practicing failure. The snap stops the practice session. It says stop with authority, not just in your head, but with your entire physiology. Now that you have stopped the bleeding with the circuit breaker, you are left with a void, and the mind abhors a vacuum. If you don't fill that space with something else, the old pattern will creep right back in within seconds. This is where step 3, the override, comes into play. This is about redirection, but I need to be very clear about what this is not. This is not toxic positivity. This is not standing in front of the mirror lying to yourself, saying, I am a billionaire, when you are broke, or saying, I am happy when you are devastated. Your brain is smart. It knows when you are lying, and if you try to force a fake positive thought, your subconscious will reject it and you will actually feel worse. We are going for what I call strategic truth. You replace the limiting thought with a serving thought that is actually true. Let's look at the I can't prison. If your brain says, I can't do this, and you try to say, I can do this, your brain might fight you. So you use the bridge. You say, I am currently learning how to handle this. If your brain says, I am a failure, you don't say, I am a success. You say, I am in the process of developing the skills I need to succeed. Do you feel the difference? It is authentic. The source calls this having an arsenal of empowering thoughts ready to deploy. You need to have these preloaded in your mind like ammunition. The language is English. You are acknowledging the challenge. You are not delusional, but you are framing it in a way that keeps your dopamine flowing and your prefrontal cortex online. You are shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset in real time. You are telling your brain, we are not running the victim script anymore. We are running the student script. This changes your biological chemistry from defense to curiosity. But here is where most people fail. They do this once, it feels good, and then they forget about it. They treat mental mastery like a one-time pill instead of a gym workout. This brings us to step 4. The representatives, the source material is adamant about this. Neuroplasticity is the mechanism, but repetition is the key. You have to understand the forest analogy to get why this feels so hard at first. Imagine your brain is a dense, overgrown forest. Your negative thoughts, the ones you have been thinking for 10 years, are like a 6-lane superhighway paved through that forest. You can drive down that I am not good enough highway at 100 miles an hour with your eyes closed because you have traveled it thousands of times. When you try to think a new thought, when you try to use the override, it is like stepping off that highway and trying to hack a path through the dense jungle with a machete. It is slow. It is difficult. It is exhausting. And it feels fake. You will take 3 steps and get scratched by branches. You will want to get back on the highway because it is easier. But you have to take the reps. You have to walk that new path again and again. The first time is impossible. The 10th time is a struggle. The 100th time you have beaten down a trail. The 1000th time you have paved a new road. And the most magical part of neuroscience is that the old highway, the one you stopped using, it begins to crack. Weeds grow through the pavement. The use it or lose it principle kicks in, and those old connections actually physically degrade and disconnect. The text tells us it takes approximately 66 days to form a new habit, but the neural changes begin immediately. You are literally sculpting your brain structure with every single rep. You are the architect, but you have to be willing to go through what I call the cringe phase, where thinking these new thoughts feels unnatural and awkward. That awkwardness is not a sign it is not working. It is a sign that you are physically restructuring your gray matter. You are building new synaptic connections. You have to do the reps. You have to relentlessly reinforce the new software until it becomes the default operating system. So, let us put the whole protocol together so you can see how fast this happens in the real world. You are scrolling on your phone, and you see someone younger than you making 10 times more money. Step 1, the watcher kicks in. You feel that pang of jealousy and worthlessness. Instead of spiraling, you say, I am noticing a scarcity program running right now. You dissociate. Step 2, the circuit breaker. You physically snap your fingers, put the phone down, and stand up. You interrupt the pattern. Step 3, the override. You do not lie and say, I am rich. You say, their success is proof of what is possible, and I am currently building the discipline to get there myself. Strategic truth. Step 4, the representatives. You hold that thought. You visualize it. You feel the excitement of your own potential. You let that maximize for just 15 seconds. And then you do it again the next time the trigger hits. This is how you win the war. The source says the mind is the battlefield where your life is won or lost, and most people lose because they do not even know they are fighting. They let the enemy walk right in. But you have the protocol now. You know that 90% of your thoughts are recycled garbage, and you have the power to hit delete. You know that you can rewire the biological hardware of your brain if you are willing to endure the discomfort of forging a new path in the forest. It is not magic. It is mechanics. It is input and output. And if you commit to this not just for today but as a lifestyle, you stop being a victim of your past programming and you start becoming the programmer of your future. Master the protocol, master your mind, master your life. Alright, we have spent enough time talking about the theory. Theory is safe. Theory is comfortable. But theory does not pay the rent, and it certainly does not rewire your neural pathways. We are moving into the installation phase right now. This is where we stop acting like passive consumers of information and start acting like hackers. We are going to open up the control panel of your mind and rewrite the code. If you have been nodding along thinking this sounds nice, I need you to lean in because this is the part where most people fail. They understand the concept, but they never execute the code. You need to understand that your brain is a biological computer. That is not just a metaphor. It is a literal description of how your hardware operates. Right now, you are running software that was installed by your parents, your teachers, and a society that wants you to be predictable. And the stats are terrifying. The average person has over 60,000 thoughts a day, and 95% of them are the exact same thoughts they had yesterday. You are living in a loop. You are in a mental prison of repetition. To break that, we have to do something radical. We have to shift from goal setting to identity rehearsal. Most of you have been taught visualization completely wrong. This is the biggest trap in the self-help industry. You are told to close your eyes and visualize the finish line. You sit there imagining the Ferrari in the driveway, the 7-figure bank balance, or the crowd cheering for you. You feel good for 5 minutes, open your eyes, look at your messy apartment, and feel depressed. Why? Because you visualized the result, not the process. Your brain doesn't know how to bridge the gap between where you are and that Ferrari. You just gave yourself a dopamine hit for doing absolutely nothing. Real mental architecture, the kind used by elite athletes and billionaires, is called identity rehearsal. Stop visualizing the car. I want you to visualize the behavior of the version of you who owns the car. How does that person walk into a room? How does that person handle a crisis? When the deal falls apart, the old you panics and spirals into a what-if prison. The new you, the version we are installing, looks at the chaos and sees a puzzle to be solved. You need to rehearse the neural pathways of your behavior, not your reward. You need to see yourself waking up at 5 a.m. when you want to sleep in. You need to feel the resistance and then watch yourself doing the work anyway. That is how you build a neural superhighway. You are simulating the operating system, not the screensaver. This brings us to the mechanism that actually makes this stick. It is called state-dependent learning. This is the neuroscience of how information gets encoded into your long-term memory. Have you ever noticed that you can vividly remember a moment from 10 years ago if you were really scared or really excited, but you can't remember what you had for lunch last Tuesday? That is because emotion is the glue that binds thought to matter. The brain learns through neuroplasticity, which essentially means neurons that fire together, wire together. But they fire stronger and wire tighter when there is a chemical flood of emotion accompanying the thought. Here is the cheat code. You cannot wait for the success to happen to feel the confidence. If you do that, you are operating backwards. You are letting the external world dictate your internal state. You have to reverse the polarity. You must feel the emotion of the future before the event happens. You have to trick your brain. The brain is a sophisticated learning machine, but it cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience with high emotion and actual reality. If you mentally rehearse a presentation while feeling the genuine chemical signature of confidence, excitement, and certainty, your brain marks that as a real memory. You are literally downloading the program of, "I am a great speaker," before you have ever stepped on stage. You are engineering your own history before it happens. But I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, okay, that sounds great, but I'm broke, I'm stressed, and I'm anxious right now. How am I supposed to feel confident? This is where we use a technique called quantum thinking. This is advanced mental technology. Most people think in binary, good or bad, success or failure, rich or poor. That binary thinking creates massive stress because every time you look at your current reality, it contradicts your goal. You try to affirm, "I am wealthy," but your bank account says insufficient funds. and your brain screams that you are a liar. Quantum thinking is the ability to hold two opposing truths in your head at the same time without collapsing into a stress response. You need to be able to look at your life and say, I am a mess right now, and simultaneously believe, I am destined for greatness. You accept the present moment completely. You don't deny the debt, the breakup, or the failure, but you also hold the absolute certainty of your future vision. When you can hold both, you collapse the resistance. You stop fighting reality, which frees up the energy you need to change it. You become the observer of your current state while being the architect of your future state. You are not deluding yourself. You are strategically directing your mental energy. Now, we are going to take all of this theory, the identity rehearsal, the state-dependent learning, the quantum thinking, and we are going to package it into a protocol. I am giving you the 7-day Neuro-Architect Challenge. This is not a suggestion. If you want to change your life, this is the price of admission. It is 60% science, 40% grit, and 100% effective. We are going to split this week into 2 distinct phases: the detox and the overwrite. Days 1 through 3 are the detox. For the next 72 hours, your only job is to become a detective of your own mind. We talked about how 90% of your thoughts aren't even yours. They are replays of old fears and society's programming. For 3 days, you are going to catch them. You are going to use a technique called voice labeling. Every time you hear that inner critic, the voice that says, you're not ready, you'll look stupid, or it's too hard, you are going to label it. Do not argue with it. You cannot win an argument with fear because fear isn't logical. Just label it. Say, that is the inner critic speaking. Give it a name if you want. Call it the old code or the parasite. When you label it, you detach from it. You create space between the thinker and the thought. You realize that you are not the voice. You are the one hearing the voice. That subtle shift is the difference between being a slave to your mind and being the master of it. For 3 days, you are ruthlessly monitoring your mental intake. If you catch yourself spiraling into a what-if prison, catastrophizing about things that haven't happened, you use the circuit breaker. You physically snap your fingers, stand up, take a deep breath, and interrupt the pattern. You are starving the old neural pathways. Remember the rule: use it or lose it. If you stop feeding the old insecurities with your attention, those synaptic connections physically weaken. They begin to atrophy. Once you have spent 3 days interrupting the old signal, we move to days 4 through 7. The overwrite. This is where we get aggressive. We are not just thinking happy thoughts. We are installing a new operating system. For these 4 days, you are going to practice high-intensity emotional visualization. This is not meditation for relaxation. This is mental rehearsal for performance. You are going to set a timer for 10 minutes every morning. You are going to close your eyes and bring up that identity we talked about, the version of you that is crushing it. But here is the key: you must spike the emotion. I want you to feel the adrenaline of the win. Feel the calm certainty of the leader. Feel the gratitude of the success. You need to get your heart rate up. You need to make it visceral. Engage every sense. What does success smell like? What does it sound like? If your vision is to be a top CEO, don't just see the office. Hear the sound of your own voice commanding the room. Feel the texture of the chair. The brain needs sensory density to buy into the simulation. You are hacking the limbic system. You are tricking your nervous system into believing you have already done this 1,000 times. During this overwrite phase, you are also going to practice mental time travel. When you hit a problem in your day, life doesn't stop just because you are doing a challenge. You are going to mentally transport yourself 5 years into the future. Look back at this problem from the perspective of the version of you who has already made it. How big does this problem look from up there? It looks tiny. It looks like a stepping stone. This shifts you out of panic and into strategy. It activates your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, and shuts down the primitive emotional reaction. By the end of day 7, you will feel different. You won't just think differently. You will feel a shift in your baseline state. You will notice that the things that used to trigger a 3-hour spiral of anxiety now just bounce off you. You will catch the negative thought before it takes root. You are beginning to prune the neural pathways of failure and pave the superhighways of success. But let's be real, 7 days is the kickstart. The science says it takes about 66 days to fully automate a new habit. But these 7 days prove to you that you have the controls. You need to understand that this is about building an anti-fragile mind. Most people are fragile. When chaos hits, they break. Some people are resilient. They withstand the shock. But we want to be anti-fragile. We want a mind that gets stronger when things get hard. By installing this new identity, you are deciding that chaos is just fuel. You are deciding that failure is just data acquisition. You are taking the randomness of life and filtering it through a mental framework that serves you. Think about the most successful person you know. Do they have fewer problems than you? No. They probably have bigger problems, higher stakes, and more people counting on them. The difference isn't the load. The difference is the software running the machine. They have entrepreneurial programming that sees risk as excitement. They have confidence programming that interprets rejection as redirection. They aren't superhuman. They just have better code. And the beautiful thing about code is that it can be rewritten. You are the architect. You are the programmer. For years, you have been acting like the user, complaining that the computer is slow, complaining that it keeps crashing. I am handing you the keyboard. The 7-day challenge is your first line of code. Stop waiting for the world to give you permission to be great. The world is chaotic and indifferent. It will not give you anything. You have to take it. And you take it by winning the war in your mind first. So here is the contract. For the next week, you don't complain, you don't indulge in self-pity, and you don't let a single negative thought go unlabeled. You are going to be exhausted because thinking on purpose is harder than thinking by accident. It takes energy to override the autopilot. But the alternative is living the rest of your life in that loop, having the same thoughts, feeling the same feelings, and getting the same mediocre results. You know too much now to go back. You cannot unknow this. You know that your thoughts are creating your reality. You know that your brain is plastic and waiting to be molded. You know that you can install a new identity if you are willing to do the reps. The door to the cage is open. It has always been open. You just had to stop looking at the bars and start looking at the exit. The identity shift starts the moment you decide that your old patterns are not your destiny. They are just your history, and history is over. Start day 1 today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lie we tell ourselves to feel better about inaction. Start the detox right now. Catch the very next thought that goes through your head. Is it serving you, or is it sabotaging you? If it's sabotage, label it, thank it for its opinion, and dismiss it. Then, install the truth. Master your mind and you will master your life. That isn't just a catchy slogan. It is the physics of human potential. You have the tools. Now go build the architecture. I want you to close your eyes for a second. We are going to play a game, but it is not a game you play for fun. It is a game you play for your life. We are going to engage in what the neuroscience of peak performance calls mental time travel. I want you to fast forward. Past the grind of next week, past the confusion of your 20s or the pressure of your 30s, past the midlife shifts. I want you to accelerate the timeline all the way to age 90. Picture the room, the sterile. The air smells like antiseptic and old linens. You can hear the rhythmic, mechanical beeping of a monitor that is counting down the final beats of your heart. You are lying in that bed. Your skin is paper thin, your breath is shallow, and you are alone with your thoughts. This is the moment where the noise of social media, the opinions of your parents, and the pressure of society finally go silent. Suddenly, the door opens. Someone walks in. They pull up a chair and sit right next to you. You look at them, and you realize with a jolt of adrenaline that you are looking at yourself. But it is not the you that is lying in the bed. It is the version of you that could have been. It is the version of you that took the red pill. The version that applied every single thing we have talked about in this series. This is the version of you that mastered the 60,000 thoughts you had every single day. This is the version that didn't let 95% of those thoughts be a broken record of yesterday's fears. They look at you with eyes that are blazing with life, even at age 90. They are tired, but it is a good tired. It's the exhaustion of a marathon runner crossing the finish line, not the exhaustion of a hamster on a wheel. They look at you and they ask one simple question. Why didn't you do it? They don't ask why you didn't become a billionaire or why you didn't win a gold medal. They ask why you let the software run you instead of you running the software. They point out that you had the same hardware they did. You had the same prefrontal cortex, the same neuroplasticity, the same 24 hours. But while they were out there acting as the architect of their mental state, you were acting as the victim. While they were debugging their code, deleting the viruses of self-doubt and downloading the programs of the top 1%, you were letting the algorithm of mediocrity scroll for you. This is the difference between the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. And let me tell you, the pain of discipline weighs ounces. It burns for a moment when you interrupt a negative thought pattern or force yourself to visualize success when you feel like a failure. But the pain of regret, that weighs tons. That is a crushing weight that sits on your chest when the clock runs out, and it is the only weight you cannot lift. You need to understand that this is not just a spooky story. This is the biological reality of how your brain works. We know from the source data that 90% of the thoughts you think aren't even yours. They are borrowed. They are the voices of teachers who didn't understand you, parents who were projecting their own fears, and a society that profits from your insecurity. If you do not intervene, if you do not step in and hack the system, you are living in a hidden prison. You are walking through life thinking you are making choices, but really, you are just executing a script that was written for you when your brain was like wet cement. That version of you sitting in the chair by your deathbed, they broke the script. They realized that thoughts are not facts. They are just mental events. They realized that just because a thought appears in your head doesn't mean you have to buy a dinner and let it sleep over. This brings us to the most critical shift you need to make right now, today, before you close this video. You need to fundamentally change your relationship with chaos. Look, I see the comments. I know you are tired. The world is crazy right now. The economy is volatile. The dating market is a mess. And the future feels uncertain. The default human operating system, the one that keeps you small and safe, looks at chaos and sees a threat, triggers the limbic system, floods you with cortisol and tells you to hide, tells you to doom scroll for comfort. But the elite mindset, the mind of the master, they look at chaos and they see a gym. We talked about the concept of being anti-fragile. This is not just about resilience. Resilience is about surviving the storm and getting back to baseline. Anti-fragility is about getting better because of the storm. Think about your brain like a muscle. If you go to the gym and lift a chaotic, heavy weight, your muscle fibers tear. It hurts. It's stress. But what happens next? You don't just heal back to where you were. You heal back stronger. The fibers thicken. Your capacity increases. The stress was not the enemy. The stress was the stimulus for growth. Your mental landscape is exactly the same. The stress you are feeling right now, the pressure, the anxiety about the future, that is just the weight on the bar. Most people are dropping the weight. They are letting the bar crush their throat because they think the goal is a life of ease. The goal is not ease. The goal is strength. When you feel that anxiety spiking, that is your opportunity for what we call stress inoculation. That is the moment you engage the prefrontal cortex and say, okay, this is heavy. Good. You use the 4 pillars we discussed. You become aware of the panic. You interrupt the spiral. You redirect that energy into a solution-focused thought. And then you reinforce it with action. Every time you do that, you are not just coping. You are physically rewriting the neural superhighways in your brain. You are taking a machete to the overgrown path of fear, and you are paving a new asphalt road of absolute, unshakable competence. You have to stop waiting for the world to calm down before you start mastering your mind. That is backwards. You master your mind so that the world can't touch you. This is about emotional sovereignty. It is about reaching a point where your internal state is no longer held hostage by external events. If your happiness depends on the stock market or your relationship status or the number of likes on your post, you are a slave. You are a puppet, and reality is pulling the strings. But when you master the mechanism of thought, when you understand that thoughts create emotions, you cut the strings. You become the source of your own stability. You become the eye of the hurricane. The winds can howl at 100 miles an hour around you, tearing apart the structures of lesser minds, But in your center, there is clarity. There is focus. There is a deadly calm that allows you to execute while everyone else is panicking. We know the timeline. The science says it takes about 66 days to form a new habit, to groove a new neural pathway deep enough that it becomes automatic. That means the next 2 months are going to be a war. You are going to have to fight the old software. The inner critic, that voice that masquerades as reason but is actually just fear, is going to get loud. It is going to tell you that this is stupid. It is going to tell you that you have tried before and failed. It is going to use cognitive distortions like fortune-telling and catastrophizing to try and get you back in the box. It does this because it thinks it is protecting you. It thinks safety is the same thing as happiness. It is wrong. You have to treat that inner critic like a glitchy NPC in a video game. You do not argue with it. You do not try to reason with a glitch. You label it. You say, "Oh, that is just the old program running." You thank it for its input and then you dismiss it. You hit the delete button. You have to be ruthless. You are the programmer now. You are in the phase of deletion, downloading, and debugging. You are deleting the "I am not enough" virus. You are downloading the "I figure things out" protocol. And you are debugging it in real time by testing it against reality. And here is the beautiful, terrifying truth. You cannot unknow this. Now that you have watched this far, now that you have heard the data about neuroplasticity and the 60,000 thoughts, you have lost the luxury of ignorance. Before today, you could blame your parents or your genetics or your environment. You could say, "I am just an anxious person," or "I am just not wired for success." But now you know that is a lie. You know that the brain is plastic. You know that you can rewire it at any age. You know that "I cannot" is just a neural pathway that you have practiced too many times. So you have a choice. And this is the choice that will determine which version of you is sitting in that chair at age 90. You can click off this video and go back to sleep. You can let the 95% of repetitive, negative thoughts wash over you like a warm, suffocating blanket. You can let the simulation run on autopilot and hope for the best. That is the blue pill. It is comfortable. It is easy. And it leads directly to that hospital bed, alone, filled with the crushing weight of what could have been. Or you can take the red pill. You can accept the responsibility. You can admit that you are the architect. You can wake up tomorrow morning and catch that first negative thought within 3 seconds and crush it. You can stand in the mirror and visualize your future self with such emotional intensity that your brain begins to think it has already happened. You can treat every stressful situation as a rep in the gym. It is harder. It requires brutal honesty. It requires you to kill the old version of yourself so the new one can breathe. But the payoff? The payoff is a life that feels like it belongs to you. The payoff is looking at that ghost of potential in the eyes and realizing that you did not just meet them. You became them. The simulation is yours to rewrite. You have the cheat codes now. You understand the source code of human experience. Do not let the old program win today. Do not let the drift take you. We are building something different here. We are not interested in passive entertainment. We are building the top 1% of minds. If you want to upgrade your operating system every single week, if you want to be surrounded by people who are actively rewriting their reality, then you need to hit that subscribe button. Not for me, but for your future self. Make the commitment, rewrite the code, and I will see you in the next level.